lesson 112 today, the review. And the first one we review is light and joy and peace abide in me. I am the home of light and joy and peace. I welcome them into the home I share with God, because I am part of Him. And the second one we practice is, I am as God created me. I will remain forever as I was, created by the changeless like Himself, and I am one with Him and He with me. So we will meditate on those two this morning, and then every hour we say, light and joy and peace abide in me. Every half hour we say, I am as God created me. So there are two sections coming to mind this morning. With one, I would say it has one and the same theme. The first is from the Dreamer of the Dream. And this is crucial to take in if you want to be free of suffering. To understand this, or to see this inside, what's going on. Suffering is an emphasis upon all that the world has done to injure you. Like even that first sentence. Suffering is an emphasis upon all that the world has done to injure you. Like to a dream of punishment in which the dreamer is unconscious of what brought on the attack against himself, he sees himself attacked unjustly and by something not himself. He is the victim of this something else, a thing outside himself, for which he has no reason to be held responsible. He must be innocent because he knows not what he does, but what is done to him. So to be a victim, it's to not know what the cause is, but you only experience what is done. This is done to me, this is done to me. That's to be a victim. Yet is his own attack upon himself apparent still, for it is he who bears the suffering, and he cannot escape because its source is seen outside himself. If the source of suffering is outside, there would be no escape. It's hell. The reasoning, quote, reasoning, because it's not reason, by which the world is made, on which it rests, by which it is maintained, is simply this: you are the cause of what I do. Your presence justifies my wrath, and you exist and think apart from me. While you attack, I must be innocent, and what I suffer from is your attack. No one who looks upon this reasoning exactly as it is could fail to see it does not follow and it makes no sense. Yet it seems sensible because it looks as if the world were hurting you, and so it seems as if there is no need to go beyond the obvious in terms of cause. There is indeed a need. The world's escape from condemnation is a need which those within the world are joined in sharing. Yet they do not recognize their common need, for each one thinks that if he does his part, the condemnation of the world will rest on him, and it is this that he perceives to be his part in his deliverance. Forget not that a witness to the world of evil cannot speak except for what has seen a need for evil in the world, and this is where your guilt was first beheld. In separation from your brother was the first attack upon yourself begun. In separation from your brother was the first attack upon yourself begun, and it is this the world bears witness to. Seek not another cause, nor look among the mighty legions of its witnesses for its undoing. They support its claim on your allegiance. What conceals the truth is not where you should look to find the truth. Very wise. You guys following? The witnesses to sin all stand within one little space, and it is here you find the cause of your perspective of the world. Once you were unaware of what the cause of everything the world appeared to thrust upon you, uninvited and unasked must really be. Of one thing you were sure, of all the many causes you perceived as bringing pain and suffering to you, your guilt was not among them, nor did you in any way request them for yourself. This is how all illusions came about. I think I'll read that again. Once upon a time you were unaware of what the cause of everything the world appeared to thrust upon you, uninvited and unasked must really be. Of one thing you were sure, of all the many causes you perceived as bringing pain and suffering to you, your guilt was not among them, nor did you in any way request them for yourself. This is how all illusions came about. The one who makes them does not see himself as making them, and their reality does not depend on him. Whatever cause they have is something quite apart from him, and what he sees is separate from his mind. He cannot doubt his dream's reality because he does not see the part he plays in making them and making them seem real. No one can waken from a dream the world is dreaming for him. He becomes a part of someone else's dream. He cannot choose to waken from a dream he did not make. Helpless he stands, a victim to a dream conceived and cherished by a separate mind. Careless indeed of him, this mind must be, as thoughtless of his peace and happiness as is the weather or the time of day. It loves him not, but casts him as it will in any role that satisfies its dream. So little is his worth that he is but a dancing shadow, leaping up and down according to a senseless plot conceived within the idle dreaming of the world. This is the only picture you can see, the one alternative that you can choose, the other possibility of cause if you be not the dreamer of your dreams. This is what you choose if you deny the cause of suffering is in your mind. Be glad indeed it is, for thus are you the one decider of your destiny in time. The choice is yours to make between a sleeping death and dreams of evil, or a happy awakening and joy of life. So this is crucial because we talk a lot about taking responsibility for one's feelings. And this is it, to start to see that the guilt is actually the cause of putting something outside, like anything, making anyone else wrong, making anyone else your jailer or victimizer or cause of your suffering. It's the guilt in the mind, it's not out there. There is no one else dreaming up the dream for you. But this is what a separate mind does. It is so adamant that it is so. It's so angry, So this is what the anger we have to deal with. That's why I used the word violence yesterday, because it is violent. It's a violent idea that I am a victim. It's so angry. So it's not to just smooth it over and certainly not to believe in it, So, and it tied into it is the self-concept. So the self-concept is made up by guilt, and it has two parts to it. So I read this from the Dreamer of the Dream, but then we can read from the self-concept versus self, that there is a phase of innocence that is a proud part of the self-concept that shows up, and it seems to be kind, loving in a quite evil world. It smiles and charms, but sometimes it is wet with tears because of the injustices of the world. And this it talks about in the self-concept versus self, that the innocent victim has cause for tears and pain because of what is done to it. But this is just a cover, this phase of innocence that we have to look at early on in the journey. We have to take a clear look at phase of innocence. That's the people pleaser, that's the victim, that's all of those, maybe seeming good parts of the self, that even people say, yeah, it's good you stand up for yourself against those victimizers, But it's complete. It's a story that is made up by the ego mind. It's not even happening. We have all, I think, seen those situations where people act out of the phase of innocence without having a real cause for it, saying I'm victim to something, but it's just in their dream, and they make it someone else's dream. They make it like someone is doing something to them. So underneath the phase of innocence, and here I read about that. So this is what it covers up, and this is what is not in awareness. This is what the mind does not want to see. Beneath the phase of innocence, there is a lesson that the concept of the self was made to teach. It is a lesson in a terrible displacement and a fear so devastating that the face that smiles above it must forever look away, lest it perceive the treachery it hides. The lesson teaches this: I am the thing you made of me, and as you look on me, you stand condemned because of what I am. So I am the thing you made of me, and as you look on me, you stand condemned because of what I am. So this is a further victimhood. The idea that the other, someone outside, has made you as you are, and therefore they are condemned. So it's their fault even. On this conception of the self, the world smiles with approval, for it guarantees the pathways of the world are safely kept, and those who walk on them will not escape. So the ego, in other words, approves of this concept because it confirms that the world will just continue on, You will never know who you are. You will just carry on being this victim at the mercy of what other people think and say and do around you. He continues, here is the central lesson that ensures your brother is condemned eternally. And this Jesus says that there is this belief you have killed the Son of God. And that you, in separation, you want the sin to lay outside of yourself on your brother because it is so terrible that it would lay inside of you. And that's the other belief, that the mind hides that belief. The shame and the guilt that actually the sin is inside of your mind. And that is even further concealed, that if it's not on your brother, then it's in you. And that's unacceptable to the ego. So therefore it must keep it outside. And but Jesus says, what if you look within and saw no sin? He's saying that in the section in the fear to look within. There is so much fear to look within because of the belief that there is this dark sin inside. But he's saying, look, and in the looking you will see there is nothing there. There is only the glorious love of self and the knowing that you're one. And that's why it's so encouraged to go within, to look at all fear, to face all fear, no matter what form. There are many fears in different forms that are projected, and we have to look at all of them. Cannot avoid facing the fear. This is the key. But yeah, what he says here about this hidden finger pointing, he uses the word like, this is what we need to look at. So here is the central lesson that ensures your brother is condemned eternally for what you are has now become his sin. For this is no forgiveness possible. No longer does it matter what he does, for your accusing finger points to him, unwavering and deadly in its aim. It points to you as well, but this is kept still deeper in the mist below the face of innocence. So that's what we read earlier, that the suffering, when you suffer because of someone else, but you're the one who suffers. So, and in these shrouded vaults are all his sins and yours preserved and kept in darkness, where they cannot be perceived as errors, which the light would surely show. You can be neither blamed for what you are, nor can you change the things it makes you do. Your brother, then, is symbol of your sins to you, who are but silently and yet with ceaseless urgency condemning still your brother for the hated thing you are. So this is very important, because it's not even in your brother. So that's why we say join with your brother, because these are thoughts, these are dark thoughts and beliefs in the mind. It's not in bodies. It's not. Bodies cannot do anything. It is in the mind, and so that's why the joining is so important and so helpful, because everyone has a different set of issues too. So in the joining, you will receive help. You can let go. You can let go of the need of being a self-concept. You can let go of the need of thinking you have to know something, have to stand up for yourself. Like, what is the self you would stand up for? Right? It's a false self. It needs no defense. So it's a very, very, very loving teaching. Like, take this in. This is like, we can't really go on together unless you take a look at this. You can even read The Dreamer of the Dream and Self-Concept versus Self by yourself if you're inspired, and really look in your mind how this plays out for you. It would be time well spent. Yeah.
Can you repeat what you said about the joining?
Yeah.
It's in the mind.
Yeah. It's in the mind. The darkness is in the mind. It's not in the other person. It's projected there. But if you dare to join, if you have this prayer, I want to bridge over this, whatever this weird thing is going on, have a prayer. I want to connect. I want to know who I am through this joining. Then, that invites joining. That will be so healing. So, yeah. So that's why I've been encouraging to talk things through, to go towards and talk about it. I have this perception about you and I don't want to. I want to clear it. I want to heal it. And if you're part of a collaboration and you don't really know what to do in the collaboration, you can even say that. Like I feel quite useless. I feel like I don't have good ideas, but maybe I don't have to. Maybe it's in our joining. Maybe the other one has some good ideas, and I can be humble and open to accept them. There is no need to defend a small self. That's the gift, and the gift of joining. It's hard work to keep up a self-concept, to hold up a face of any kind, face of innocence, face of personal strength, face of whatever, innocence, kind person, whatever personality you can think of is actually of the ego. The only helpful concept is forgiveness, is to come with an intention of forgiveness and say, I don't really know who I am or what I should be like, or I can lay that down. Be really humble, and then gifts are given. You will start to perceive the miracles, the gift of joining, the gift your brother wants to give to you all the time. Your brother is the Christ, but you don't see it. And the Christ gives gifts all the time. But if the humbleness and just laying aside of pride can be there, then gifts can be seen and felt. So it's, that's what I felt to share this morning. Any thoughts about that, or anything else you would like to share? We can also just really take this in and use time today to see this, to see your mind, and just stay open to healing and gifts, miracles. We're entitled to that. Sometimes we don't know how. I have no idea how to lay aside that ego, but our willingness is everything. To offer the Holy Spirit our willingness. Zoom ended right there.
I've heard enough. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe I think.